Good evening, guys. Welcome back to yet another scintillating episode of We Are the Girls in Claret and Blue. I am your host, Ali, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Reese, as ever.
Good evening, guys. Pleased to be back on the show.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk about the heartbreaking draw against Birmingham last week. We're going to look forward optimistically. Let's go with that to the game against Man United tomorrow. We're going to talk about the news that has got the whole of the WSL community ablaze with the new TV deal split between the BBC and Sky. We're also going to talk about sneak attacks in signings and what else we feel like talking about. So let's start with the match last Wednesday. We both pegged it as a must-win game. And we were that close. And then we took our eye off the ball. So, Reese, on a scale from 1 to 10, how heartbroken were you on that Wednesday?
Oh, 10 straight away. I mean, the funny thing is, I was watching it with my mate, over an Xbox chat, and he sort of it was like dead quiet, and all he could hear me go was "fucking hell," and I was so heartbroken. But one thing that sort of really annoyed me was after I read the comments on the West Ham page, and it was sort of, why did Ollie make these subs late on, bringing these key players off to waste time? I mean, you can't really blame the manager for conceding. I don't think you can. Conceding that goal that late due to substitutions to try to waste time in a crucial game. Most managers would do that nowadays. And I think, especially when the goal came from something we've struggled with repetitively season after season after season, defending crosses. And I think people have really got to remember when they speak about Ollie as manager is he's just building a team. We're improving week on week. I think every performance since the international break, the return of that, I think we've improved on each performance out the last two. The only thing pegging us back is probably concentration at times, at vital moments. Yes, we was all heartbroken, but I like to concentrate on the positives. I thought it was another improvement on performance, and as much as it was a must win, it was also a must not lose, and we didn't lose, which is another positive.
That's what I love about you, Reese. You are ever the optimist. No. I have to point out, when we scored our second and we took the lead, Kate had to text our downstairs neighbour to apologise for the noise that I made, and I had to buy her a bar of chocolate the next day. So that's it. I think it was one of those things where, and I was talking in a group chat during the match, I would rather we'd come from 1-0 down, kept it at 1-1. That would have been less heartbreaking than to go up 2-1 and then lose it that close at the end. That for me was the worst, like the absolute gutting of it, because we were so close. We were 60 seconds away from getting that vital win. All the other results and the other teams had gone our way, and then we blew it at the last hurdle. So it was heartbreaking, but like you said, there were some great positives. I think there is a reason Svitskov has just been named female Czech player of the year. I thought she was absolutely sublime. You could not fault her the entire match. I thought, again, it was another cracking performance by Reddish and Vetterlein. They, again, properly were running that wing ragged. That's not an easy sentence to say. And I thought they were absolutely brilliant. I thought Gilly literally bled for our team against a rather strong clash of heads between her and Claudia Walker. So you're right, it was a much improved performance. The only one I had a slight issue with was Dali. I thought she was off pace all game. I thought she wasn't quite back to full Darliness as we know her to be. Once again, though, Dagny, again, proving What an absolute fighter that girl is. I'm so excited to see her grow and develop in skills as well as passion. Like, I think she's got the passion right there. We just need to get her back to match ball fitness, and we've got an absolute banging player.
Well, I want you to elaborate on that point of you can blame Ollie for that. Do you think he may be at fault then?
As my lovely friend Dan has just put, taking the only centre forward off for a defender upset the balance of the team. I think he did make his substitutions too late. I believe it was a strategic thing in the fact that he wanted to count down the clock and waste time, but you can't always do that. And Birmingham, you should have read the game a bit better and seen that Birmingham were pressing and pressing and pressing to try and get that equaliser or even get a winner. And he should have made his substitutions earlier, so we shored up that defence by bringing Cisco on maybe at the 80th minute rather than the 89th minute. Bringing on, like, if you wanted to shore up the defence, he should have brought him on earlier. I think counting down the clock and wasting time made people switch off, and that's why we conceded that so late on.
That's a player's problem, in my opinion. You don't switch off in big games like that.
No, you don't, but I don't think Ollie helped either. I know you will defend the manager to the absolute hilt.
Oh, will, yeah.
No matter who he is, but I think he's got to take some blame as well in the fact that his tactic didn't work. And it was his tactic to waste time and run down the clock, and it didn't work.
Yeah, but referring to Dan's comment there on taking the only centre forward off for a defender, I think he took him off with a minute and a half to go. We were 2-1 up. We needed to defend, and he brought probably our best defenders come off the bench on Sissoko to defend crosses going in the box, which was what Birmingham was doing.
So why didn't we do it earlier?
There's a lack of
Why didn't we do it earlier?
Because he didn't feel like it was ready.
Exactly. So therefore, it's his fault for not reading the game and not bringing him on earlier. Like, you can say it's the players.
I think he did read the game, though. That's why he thought Sissoko wanted to defend crosses.
Too late. That's just no personal feeling, mate. He said, why do I blame Ollie? Because he brought him on too late. If you wanted to park the bus and defend all those crosses, you should have read the game, seen what Birmingham were doing, and brought it on earlier once we got that second goal. He didn't. And of course, the players are at fault for not playing to the whistle like they should have done. And hopefully they're going to learn their lesson to play to the whistle. But you can't say he is not faultless because his tactics did not work.
Well, I think it's a mixture of both, but I still defend Ollie strongly.
I can never get you to say anything bad about manager. You'll never say anything bad about manager.
Not Ollie. Not right now, no.
You wouldn't say anything bad about Matt either. It was always me.
No.
Casting
I'm a big defender of the manager.
All right, then. I've got a question for you, because we are going to talk about our opponents that are coming up tomorrow. But let's talk about their manager for a second. So, Man United had a very big game on Friday. That's Friday. They had a really big game playing against their nearest opponents, Arsenal, for the championship, and they lost 2-0. Stoney came out and had a blazing row against the ref, saying that she thought the ref was atrocious and didn't hold back. Fair enough. 2 points that I want to ask you. 1, should she have done that? And 2, why have we not seen her punished like we saw Carla Ward for doing exactly the same thing?
Straight answer to the second question, because it's a top 4 club. And because in my opinion, the FA see her as future England manager, so probably don't want to upset her. I think that's another thing that you have to put into consideration. And then what was the first question again?
Do you think she should have said that about the ref, like coming out like that?
I think that them things you do keep private. Maybe you go and, well, you can't now, can you? But in normality, you'd go and have a conversation after the game with the referee and talk about it. I think that may have came into why Casey did it, because of the fact she couldn't have that conversation with the referee, as I'm aware, because of COVID protocols. However, I think it is a bit unprofessional to go on an interview and rant about a referee, that you keep your opinions to yourself there. And I feel like she sort of used that as a scapegoat to take away from for me, what was a poor performance from Manchester United, and a lot of fans would have put her under pressure. So I think she tried to take the pressure off herself there, because Man United fans ain't the easiest bunch to impress, and they will let you know on social media if they don't agree with your tactics. And so I just feel like she used that a bit to take the pressure off her. But she really battered the referee. But the referee sort of helped him out by sending Beth Mead off. So, I just couldn't understand it.
That's the thing. Like, for me, no, she shouldn't have said it. But if she was going to say it, she even said in the interview, I'm probably going to get fined for this. And nothing has happened yet. There's not even been an announcement by the FA that they're looking into the incident. Carla Ward was fined and banned for a game after 2 days. After 2 days. The incident happened on a Sunday. She was banned by the Tuesday. They haven't even said they're announcing an investigation into it yet, which makes me think they're just going to either A, let it just completely slide, or B, wait until they've played the game against us at Old Trafford and then bring in a punishment so that she doesn't miss the Old Trafford game.
You talk about, the league being concluded on a fair basis for each team. Well, Carla was banned for one match, and everybody knows. I mean, I wanted her to be the next West Ham manager at one point. That she's a good manager, and she's got a massive influence, as we saw in our game on the touchline. Yep. So you've banned her for one match, which will affect Birmingham's performance. But Casey makes the same comments and is now going into the game on the touchline at Old Trafford.
Exactly. So it just, something doesn't ring right for me. But also I want to bring up like two things and then we'll move on to the actual game ahead. But I just want to bring up two things. One was Casey said that the reason she complained about the ref is the fact that Lauren James was fouled and fouled and fouled and fouled. I don't believe Lauren James was fouled and fouled. I think there was some clinical tackles. I'm not saying that, but she is the player that has the most of the ball. Mm-hmm. And it was pointed out to me in another podcast, and they're right. She's a bit like Jack Grealish without the diving.
Yeah, that's a great point.
In fact, that she will take more touches than needed. A normal player will take 3 touches, she'll take like 7. And that is giving defenders, midfielders, whoever, the chance to come up and nab the ball off her. So she's not being, I don't think she's being fouled a lot. I think she's being double teamed, triple teamed, whatever it is, because she's taking too long on the ball.
And I think with Lauren as well, sort of if you look at the player she was compared to in the men's game, Jack Grealish, he sort of always looks to get fouls and con the ref because of how much he dominates the ball, and he likes to get fouls because that's his best part of his play, set plays. Yeah. I think Lauren tries to do that as well. When you watch her, she does sometimes go down a bit easily, try to con the ref into decisions. You probably will see that on Sunday when she plays us. If Kate gives her a dig, she'll probably go down.
Saturday, mate. We're playing tomorrow morning.
Saturday.
We're playing tomorrow morning. They moved it. We're playing Saturday morning. No, you're right. And then my second point was Casey better not throw stones in glass houses, because some of those tackles that the Man United players were doing. There's a clip of Katie McCabe being grabbed by Ella Toone by the scruff of her neck.
Yeah,
nothing was given. So Stoney better be careful about what she's saying, because they better clean house with their own players before they start casting aspersions on other players. But we're going to go on to our game tomorrow. So as far as we know, she's going to be there on a cooler on the touchline. Firstly, how big an advantage do you think playing at Old Trafford is going to give Man United, or do you think taking them away from what they know in league is going to be a detriment?
None at all. I actually think it's an advantage to us. We're playing them at what, in my opinion, to them is a neutral ground in one of their home games. And people may not see it like this, but for me, Ollie's got quite a nice team to go and make history. Our players could go into the record books as being the first team to beat Man United at Old Trafford, their women's team.
Yeah,
that's a big enough message to send your team out to motivate. And I also feel like we're probably, in terms of performances now, after our 2 games, we've just given our 2 best performances of the season. So I think it's an advantage, but let's not get carried away. It's a tough game. They're a really good side, but I do feel like we are playing at a neutral ground now, and I think that's an advantage to us.
Yeah, I did think it was a bit of an odd, it's a bit odd to me that they're doing it when nobody can get in, because it's behind closed doors. I mean, it makes sense. Men are on the international break. It's there. They might as well use it because it's there. But I don't think Casey would have chosen it if she'd been given the option, because Man United's run of form at the moment has been very off. I don't think they were expected to beat Man City because of the form Man City are now on. I think they would have thought they were going to beat Arsenal because of the form Arsenal have been on, and they certainly didn't think they were going to lose to Reading. So they've been off pace for the last few games that they've played. And to then take away the one advantage that they have, which is knowing Leigh Sports Village like the back of their hand, and then bringing them into this big echoing empty stadium, was that smart? I don't think so. So I don't think management would have picked that. I think the club have sort of said, Old Trafford's going begging, here you go. The fans want you to play here. Off you trot.
I'll tell you what is an advantage to them, and it's something that, sorry for trying, but it really pissed me off. A 11:30 kickoff. We've got to travel up there to Manchester. What an absolute joke. No consideration for us. I get it's their home game, but we've got to travel all the way up from East London to Manchester for a 11:30 kickoff. Then players have got to be there for 10:30 to get, well, probably 9:30 to get ready, and then warm up for 10:30. So God knows what time we've got to leave in the bloody morning.
But, they probably travelled up tonight.
Ridiculous.
To be fair, they probably travelled up tonight.
Can you, because of the quarantine restrictions? That's question.
True. That's true. I don't actually know. I would assume they have, and they get away with it because they're travelling for legit business. Because I think sport is exempt, but I don't know. It could well be that they have to get up at 3:00 in the morning in order to.
Well, if we can stay in a hotel, okay, that's fine. But if not, it's an absolute disgrace.
It is ridiculous
for the FA to let that go ahead as well. 11:30 kickoff. What a joke.
It's ridiculous. Our favourite Chelsea fan has said, Tobin Heath is Manchester United's main danger. Well, she's been injured for the last couple of games. I don't know if she's back. She was without the boot at the Arsenal game, but she wasn't in the squad. I don't know if she's back. I know Leah Galton's still out, and there's a couple of other key Man United players that are out. But then we're also out Leon, Kernahan. I won't say Mac because I do miss Mac, but I think Courtney's been playing an absolute blinder, so Mac is less of a loss. She's still a loss, but she's less of a loss. And also Lois Joel. So that
is a big loss actually, because Joel was playing really well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gutted for Kernahan to go on a tangent because she's been this close to coming back, and then she got a knock in international duty, and then she got and then she's coming back after Christmas, and then she got shin splints, and so she's then coming back after the international break, and then she's had another knock. So here's hoping. Oh, hello, it's my daddy dearest who has turned around and said Elite Sport are exempt, so they will be staying in a hotel more than likely tonight. Hello, father. Dan said, isn't there a nice comfort inn at Old Trafford? No, but there's a Premier Inn because I work near there now, which is very upsetting. Because I have a view of the swamp from my office window and I don't like it. But there is a Premier Inn around the corner. So I think it is going to be a fairly balanced game. Honestly, do I think we're going to lose?
I think we can go there and get a point. I think we can.
Do I think we're going to lose 4-2 like we did at home? No, I think it's going to be tighter than that. I think we are more evenly matched than we were before the game before. I can't remember. We played in October because we both got our injuries. We both got our super players now. I think what would be really interesting, and I would love to see, is a Dagny Martha Harris matchup, because they are both absolute brutes in the game. And I would absolutely like just to see how those two spar against each other, I think that would be absolutely fun. So I do think we're more evenly matched than we were, but I still think I might be watching the match through my fingers.
It depends what tactic Ollie goes there with.
Yeah,
I think we've got to go out, and we can't rely on us to concentrate for 90 minutes defensively. I mean, I think the last few moments against Birmingham proved that we've got to go out. I think we're a much better side when we attack teams, and I think, like you said, Man United are putting in poor performances. We're putting in some good performances now. I do believe we can go there and get a point. I don't think we can win, if I'm honest. However, what a great surprise it would be if we was to beat them at Old Trafford. Nothing,
absolutely.
I would love it for us to beat Man United.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It would be glorious, and it would certainly put us on the way to safety, because it certainly wouldn't be a game that we would have pegged to win. I'm not going to be honest. I think it's going to come down to when we play Aston Villa twice. I'm going to be genuinely honest, because they've already beaten Bristol once, and if we can beat them twice, then we're pretty golden. But I do think it's going to come to Aston Villa twice.
See, I don't know about that. I think both sides have probably got to try and get a point against the big sides to keep them safe. I think that's what we've got to do. We've got to go to Old Trafford and try to get a point when we play these sides. Beat Aston Villa. So if we get a point,
beat Reading. That'd be nice. We can beat Reading.
Get a point there. Beat Reading. 4 points, and then you beat Villa. That's your 7 points. I think we're safe. So yeah. I think that's got to be the target, really.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. But now we're going to talk about the thing that West Ham keep on doing, which is surprise signings. So against Chelsea, we suddenly announced that we'd signed another goalkeeper. And then against Birmingham, we've signed another.
We didn't announce. It was after Chelsea, wasn't it?
No, we found out we had another player. And during the Birmingham game, we found out we had another. And I believe she is a midfielder or a striker, but don't quote me. A 17-year-old player from Arsenal. I do have her name here. So she is Anouk Denton. She is a 17-year-old. I believe she's played for Arsenal's juniors. I'm not sure she's had her senior debut yet. But she's, by all intents and purposes, she's supposed to be a cracking player. I'm hoping that she'll get some actual game time with us, since we've emergency loaned her. I believe it was confirmed by Rich Laverty that we've got her until the end of the season. So, yeah. Well, we talked about communication last time. So what do we feel about that, Reece, that we've just randomly surprised her?
You know my opinions on it. I think it's a complete and utter disgrace that we're not updating our fans on signings and injuries and all this sort of palaver. I also think it's sort of bad for the player, not to be announced on social media. Am I really welcome if they're not announcing me on social media? That can run through a player's head. However, let's hope she comes in and does well. That's another thing. Welcome to the club. However, this is something I think we're going to talk about it later, but the TV deal is going to improve, because I don't think media sites like BBC and Sky will accept this by clubs. I think it'd be very ironic if next week hopefully we don't have to, we get another emergency loan and we announce it on Friday, because now Sky are watching.
No, absolutely. Though I have to say, give the club the credit where credit's due. They did send out a quite detailed injury update after, I think it was after the Birmingham game. So they
only because they was pressured.
Yes, they were. But I'll take what we can get. So hopefully no more surprise signings. Hopefully we've got the squad as solid as it can be until the transfer window. Dan says, thanks for letting me know. I generally didn't have a Scooby about us signing her. Neither did I. Again, it wasn't until we saw the squad list and one of my friends was like, oh, she played for Arsenal juniors. I was like, anyway.
We'll announce the signings for them, Ellie, if they don't want to.
Absolutely. Right, now we're going to talk about what everybody in the women's game has been talking about this week. I have a feeling that I'm not going to rant again. I already ranted on another podcast, but I will talk about it. We're going to talk about the mega deal that has happened with Sky and BBC for the TV rights for the next 3 years for the WSL and the money injection that's going to bring. Reese, your thoughts?
Well, I sort of calmed down now from when it was announced. At first, I was really excited. I think it got announced at midnight on the Sunday, and I was up till 2:30 just thinking about how Sky are going to operate this, putting my media brain on. I work in the industry, and thinking about how much it improved the women's game. However, I have to say, I watched your podcast with Rodney and Emma on, I think it was Wednesday. It was released. And I have to say, I think you, Rodney and Emma, all gave great points about the kickoff times. I thought that was really valid. I think that's a bit fair. I think with that, it affects the away fan more and makes it more inaccessible, which is sort of maybe tactical for Sky to get viewers onto their station, away fans. I do think they're going to move away from caring about fans at seats. Now they've got an 8 million a deal. I think it's 8 million a season deal. By Sky, which is probably more money they'll get if fans attend games each season. It's great to grow the game. However, with me saying that about fans, I think it's important women's football doesn't move away from fans, bums on seats at stadiums, because for me, I enjoyed last season more than this season, genuinely, because for all of it before it got points per game, I enjoyed it more because I was at the game and you're able to interact. I'll be interested to see what it does in terms of media accessibility for other media companies. Sky and BBC may want to control that a bit more. However, I think it's going to change the game. One thing I've said when talking about women's football is one reason you sort of, for me, when I first started women's football, watching women's football, the main reason I was still watching a lot of men's football, which I still do now, is because it's on TV more. You're able to watch it more, and now women's football's there. You can follow it more, and you can get your news straight off a TV station with Sky Sports News, hopefully, which is good for the game. However, like I said, I'm a bit worried that it will take away from fans being at the stadium a bit.
No, absolutely. So I also have calmed down since my lovely rant, which if you would like to watch it is on and off the pitch on their YouTube thing. I do think that the proposed times are awful for like you said, for away fans or fans that travel, because I'm not the only one. I don't want to just say me. I know there are other West Ham fans that live further out from East London that's going to be an issue for. I do think that someone's head needs a wobble about that. My biggest fear is still breaking away the pyramid, because it's just going to be majority of the money going to WSL, a little bit going to the Championship, nothing is going to the lower leagues. And it's a bit like you've seen in the men's game where the Premier League dominates everything. You get a little bit on the Championship and then the rest, good luck. And that concerns me, because we've already got established clubs saying they can't afford to jump up to Championship. Like Huddersfield, I mean, their season, I believe, has been now null and voided, or at least cancelled. They're still going to keep the results. But Huddersfield Town were miles away and were pretty much going to jump on Championship, but they said they declined it because they couldn't afford to the upkeep of a different stadium, because they currently play, it's a field. And I'm going to tell you why I know that, because I went to uni in Huddersfield and we used to play American football on that field, and I used to go watch. It's not great. But they couldn't afford to have another stadium, and they've already got the Huddersfield Giants play at Huddersfield Town's group ground, so there's no way they can ground switch that way. And it's that concerns me. I think you're right that the communication will get better, because a big conglomerate like Sky will insist on that. So I think that's a great incentive. I'm hoping that you might get the more casual viewer that maybe doesn't want to go and attend, or they can't because of various reasons, and they still get to follow the players and the teams that they support. So I do believe there are positives, but I'm hoping they work out those negatives before it absolutely cripples the game for everybody that's not in the Championship and above.
One thing with the kickoff times, though, their explanation for it was to, I don't know if rival's the right word, but sort of rival the Premier League for their, try to accommodate for Premier League so more fans can watch it when it's not on. But 11:30 on a Saturday doesn't make any sense because there's a 12:30 game in the Premier League.
Exactly.
So, if I'm a Premier League fan and there's a game at 12:30, well, I am not going to switch on a game at 11:30. I'll just wait till 12:30. That doesn't make any sense. The 11:30 kickoff also takes away from fans that go to work on a Saturday and go every week. So, the main trouble with the deal, with the other ready deal, I think you call it by the WSL and Sky, is they're trying to attract new fans, but at the same time, they're taking away the fans they've already got. And that's what I think they need to restructure them kickoff times. You don't want to try and go just for the Premier League fans. You've got to accommodate your fans. And if people ain't interested, for me, they're not going to care about it. Oh, let's watch that because it's an hour earlier. They're just going to wait. So let's care about the fans we have. And if our game improves enough, which is, when I speak to fans of men's football, that is a problem for them. The refereeing standards and stuff like that. When our game improves, the viewership will improve. So let's just concentrate on the fans we've got with accessible kickoff times and really build with Sky, not go against the grain.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, I don't want to infantilise women's football at all, but the majority of fans you get are families. It's young, and it's a lot of young girls that are looking up to players that they hope to be one day. A lot of girls' football is during Saturday morning. I've got a few friends with kids whose kids play football, and like the majority of the kids' training times is a Saturday morning. So, you're going to take away from people actually watching the game, both on TV and actually at the ground. And even though you're saying you're inspiring, women to play the game because they haven't had that, are you not killing the dream because they're not watching it anymore?
I'll tell you another thing that's wrong about that statement is they're inspiring young girls to watch women's football on a platform, but their parents have got to pay £25 to watch it a month. Don't make any sense.
Yeah. So, like I said, there's pros and cons. There is pros and cons to it. But our friend Dana said, my main worry is West Ham will get relegated and miss out on the Sky money. Well, 25% of it's going to the Championship, so they'll get some.
That's a worry, but I think you made this point, which I thought was really good, about will the 8 million actually go to our women's team? That's a question that needs to be raised.
Yeah, that was one thing I said, and like it was the cynic in me, I'm not going to lie, but unless there is cast iron contracts that say the money you receive must go to developing your women's team, as Rodney said, some creative accounting is going to go on, and certain teams like Reading men's are not doing particularly well financially. Birmingham men's definitely isn't doing that well financially. Bristol City men's are probably not doing that great financially. What's to stop their little bit of like moving around the finances so it goes towards keeping their men's team afloat? I'm hoping that's just me being cynical.
Do you think due to this 8 million? I mean, it's interesting on this point. My answer is no to this, but do you think this money may introduce stuff like transfer fees for players and increase the wages of the players in the game? I think the wages is yes. I don't think we'll see transfer fees though.
Well, we have transfer fees at the moment, but they're pretty minimal. And he's gone. They're pretty minimal at the moment. I think Harder currently is one of the most expensive players to have come in, and comparatively, I think they did a study that the most expensive men's player is Neymar. either Neymar or Ronaldo, I can't remember which one it is, and her transfer fee and wage was something like a tiny minuscule percentage of what his was. So I think it will probably increase wages. I think hopefully it's going to give teams in the Championship that are not professional the chance to turn professional and let them give up some day jobs so they can actually focus on the Championship. But I still see it, and it hurt, but I still see it. It's going to be the top four are going to benefit the most. You're going to get a little bit of benefit for the teams in the middle and at the bottom, and the Championship are going to get the dregs and nothing further down than that.
I agree.
And the honest answer is I think the teams that are going to benefit the most are teams that have successful men's teams, because they're going to be the ones that are going to have that little bit of support. So if you look at the Championship, you've got your Sheffield United, you've got who else is down there? You've got Liverpool down there. Though Liverpool don't care about their women's team, and I will say that because they don't. We've seen that clearly. Sue me if you want, Liverpool. You don't care about your women's team.
Don't sue me.
But you've got Palace, Crystal Palace women. You know, you've got players like that. I think they will have the backing. Do I think this is going to help Durham, who are not affiliated to any men's team? They're affiliated to a university. No. Is this going to make Durham, who are a class side? We saw that when we played them in the Conti, who probably do deserve a shot at WSL, if not this season, next season. Is that going to help them? No, I don't think it is. So, who knows? Genuinely, I don't know. Maybe it is going to be a case of wait and see.
I'm just interested. I'm in the industry media myself. I'm interested to see what they do with it and how much it grows the game.
Do you think they're going to put them on main Sky? Do you think it's going to be Sky May Event? Is it going to be main Sky, not just Red Button Sky?
No, it's going to be Sky Sports Football and stuff like that. I think the way they'll do it is because they've got. My understanding is right now they've got a deal with the Championship for a 12:30 kickoff. So I think the WSL will be on the Premier League because that's what it's equal to in the women's game, and probably the Championship will be on the main event channel on 403, which is Sky Football. That's the way I think they'll operate. But what I'm interested to see more of, Ali, is stuff like the warm-up show that the WSL do. Will that go to Sky? Will that go on BBC? What will BBC do with it? They have a really good I think it's MOTDX. It's a really good morning production show. They need to put stuff like that, maybe for women's football. I think more interviews, more content on Sky. Probably it'd be nice to see an even amount of coverage on the channels. I don't think you'll get that yet, though. But what I'm interested to see as well is Sky Sports News, whether they do stuff like deadline day and stuff like that. But the last thing I want to see is Jim White on a deadline day. Because...
No, I get that. But it would be nice to actually have male professionals or ex-pros support it. And I'll give you two examples, one bad, one good. So the good one is Ian Wright. I have so much time for Ian Wright, not just because he's an ex-Hammer, but that man he took an interest, mainly because he's an Arsenal through and through, but that's fine. And he's now gone out of his way. I don't know if you listen to his weekly podcast, but he does I think, and he will always make a point of bringing in some women's football. Whether it's a creator, whether it's a player, whatever it is, he makes a point. And it's not and now here's our women's section. It's just part of his program. And I think that is one of the best ways of just normalizing it, that he's like, this is my podcast, I'm going to talk about this for a bit, then I'm going to talk about this, and it happens to be women's football. Now that the worst one at the moment is Ray Parlour.
He's a complete dick.
I don't know if anybody saw this, but he got asked in an interview, and I think it was for Arsenal TV or something like that, when, do you know which club Vivian Miedemeier plays for? And he guessed Chelsea. Plays for your own damn club, Ray Parlour. She plays for Arsenal. And of course, all the men's football fans were like, well, what's he supposed to know? And I'm like, he is so involved in the Arsenal club. I'm pretty sure he will have seen her name somewhere.
What Well, I just said that Ian Wright's a great talent, and the reason I say he's a great talent is, for me, as a young, inspiring person that wants to grow into the media game, he's got the sense of personality where he's not been told by his PR team to do it. He's actually got a natural love for the women's game.
Absolutely.
He's constantly advertising it. He speaks about players so naturally. He doesn't have to research the names. He knows them. So it's clear he watches. He watches them. If the Arsenal women's team win a big North London derby, he's straight on his social media account speaking about it and getting other people to. And Ian Wright's got to be on Sky Sports next season because he's a really good advertisement.
I absolutely hope so. That's the sort of ex-pro I want, because, like you said, Ian Wright doesn't distinguish between men and women's football. He's Arsenal through and through, but he's Arsenal through and through, whether it's the youth squads, if it's the women's team, if it's the men's team. He doesn't differentiate. Mm-hmm. He just wants Arsenal to do well. And I think, we need people like him. I think Dion Dublin did really great at the World Cup. He was really getting involved, and I think someone like him would be great. Obviously, get your female ex-pros in, like your Sue Smiths and your Rachel Finnis-Browns and things like that. But I just think if we can balance it up and make it not such a special event, and it's just, this is your football this weekend. You've got Chelsea playing Man City, and you've got Arsenal versus Reading, and one of them happens to be a women's game.
Mm-hmm. I think what will happen is, I think next year you'll see sort of the Premier League will announce their fixtures first, and then Sky will go to the WSL. We want 11:30 on a Saturday, Tottenham v Arsenal women, followed by Tottenham v Arsenal men, and have a double package. I think that's what you're going to see a lot more of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Man City have managed to
Mika
do it a couple
Richards
of times.
is another really good one as well.
Love him. Yeah. Manchester City managed to do it a couple of times just because of how close their women's stadium is to their men's stadium. So I myself have gone to a couple of double headers. Oh, look who's shown his face. Rodney, you can shush.
What about Alan Brazil? God.
Rodney, I love you, but you can shush. Right, now we're going to close up in a minute. We're going to finish up. I've been talking too much and I want a beer. But I thought now would be a good time just to promote our other products, because I know Reese has got another podcast that he's been dying to talk about, and I've got something exciting to talk about. So I'm going to get Reese go first. Plug yourself. Go on, Reese. Tell people where else they can hear you.
So you can hear me on the RL podcast. It covers the aim is to cover every league in English football, just building it now. A lot of topics about West Ham men, women's football, something I'm going to introduce more of onto the show. And we follow every league. So if you want to hear about up and coming players from other international leagues like La Liga, or if you want to hear about the WSL, the Premier League, non-league, our podcast is the place to be.
And do you have a Twitter? Anything people can follow you on?
Yeah, at Lamin Reese is the one I use.
Perfect.
As you can see there.
As you can see there, he's very professional. He's all there. Now, I just want to take a quick time, because we finally have announced our baby. We've been working on this for months, and we have finally announced it. So, guys, if you're a fan of women's football, I beg of you to please follow _hold the line. We are aiming to be the first call-in women's football show that is out there. So if you've ever wanted, a female Robbie Savage to tell you what's what, then I think me and Emma will be able to fit that bill. And then we've got Rodney for good company. Because Group 5 of us, we've been working so hard on this. We launch Monday night after the games, so you guys can start calling in then. If you follow Hold the Line, you'll be able to see the posts on how you can join. But we are Rodney's just gone easy. But we are, honestly, I can't hype it up anymore. We are going to be the first live call-in show for women's football, and we're going to cover all leagues. We're going to talk about WSL, we're talking Championship, we're talking about the Northern League, the Southern League, your local team that does a kickabout if you want. But yeah, so I'm really excited and very, it's been months in the making.
I have to say a lot of admiration for you guys for doing this, because this has come on a week where Sky Sports have took the headlines and stuff, but for fans for fans to do it, like I said, you're not getting any money out of this. It's literally for your love of the game, and it's something. I mean, I'll be phoning in when I can, and it's really good for the women's game because it gives fans away from the Sky Sports option and lets them have chats with fans. So a lot of admiration for you guys for doing it, and it's 5 really good people that know a lot about women's football. So
I appreciate the response. I wanted to get that out there to our darling viewers. I love this. Dan, will you be getting the Robbie Savage haircut? Well, I think I've got him like
please no,
like his Blackburn era. I think at the moment it's kind of a half and half at the moment. But no, as you can tell, we're all very passionate about it, and we're so excited that we're going to get this launched, and hopefully we can keep this going, get some good people on as well. But please check us out. Launch is on Monday, and call in with your views, whether you want to big up Birmingham, rant about Reading, or moan about Man City. This is the
just don't rant about Ollie Harder, because I won't have any of it.
I promise nothing. Right. That's 45 minutes of our slot, and I really want to be in now. So I want to thank Reese once again for joining us and being my wonderful co-host on We Are the Girls in Claret and Blue. I want to thank all of our wonderful regular viewers and listeners. We've had a couple of new faces tonight, I can see, including my darling father. But again, it wouldn't be possible without you guys. We will be back next week, maybe. The only reason I say maybe is because I'm working a lot of shifts next week. But we actually no, it's bank holiday, so we will be back. So we will be back.
Actually, it's a big maybe because my sister's having a baby this week. So
well, there you go then. So we'll let you guys know if we are back. But thank you all once again, and we will keep you updated when we are back. And here's fingers crossed for tomorrow. Come on, girls, we believe in you. You can get something from this game.
Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons. Right, guys.